Okay, now we're going to have our first candidate for president, Emilie. Okay, and you have 5 minutes starting now.
Alright, so hopefully you all know who I am, and I've been vice president to Greg throughout this year, and I've always been involved with the SU since I got here. And as Eddie said, I think there's quite a lot of apathy amongst the student body at times, and I think that a sense of continuation within the student union would be really great to make this place really great. So obviously, you know, the president only has 1 year to kind of get everything done, and Greg's done an amazing job, but has only had 1 year to do things. And I think we've never in our time here seen a sense of continuation with the SU, having someone that was vice president becoming president. And I think it would be really good because there are lots of things that Greg laid the foundations for that I know how to do. I know the mechanisms. I go to all the meetings. I've been to all the student union meetings. I've been involved with kind of most things that I could. I've been involved with East Wings, TEDx, the Courtauldian, and I think that, yeah, it would be really good in an environment where Courtauld Connects is taking place, which is a project which is going to help the Courtauld evolve the better. I think it would be really good to have someone, a student voice, or someone who has been a student voice, to really have some, to be able to have an opinion and change things for the better. So as we've changed quite a few things, but there's still lots to do. I don't know if you guys know, but we've been having conversations with Maureen Cross about mental health policies, and I think that there is a significant lack of attention to students that have mental health issues at the Courtauld, and I think it's really important for that to evolve. So the staff has just had a training day with a doctor from Great Ormond Street, and the student union is going to have a day of training as well in a couple of weeks' time, and I think that there should be way more awareness that comes out of this, and I think it's something to be continued on next year. I think we need to reform the personal tutor system. I think a lot of students are happy with the way that's worked. There isn't a sense of homogeneity, I can't say that word, that one. Yeah, I think that students should be able to change if they want to change their personal tutor. I think there should be just kind of better clarity and transparency in what students are allowed to have and not allowed to have when it comes to, you know, supervisors and dissertations, and I think that would help a lot in helping out students that do have mental health issues. I think that being an overseas student has been, I've moved to London from a different country. I really wish I'd had kind of someone to point out what I needed to do as an overseas student. And I think it's really good to have a point of contact to help out all these new students that are going to be coming in next year. A process that I've already been involved with, obviously, because of the first years that I had this year, and I saw how Greg dealt with that. And I think that I would bring in an accommodation officer onto the union, but also I would bring in a mental health officer. I think because we do have a welfare officer, but I think it's such a big issue here at the moment that it would be really important to have one person to focus solely on that. And yeah, so I've moved like twice since I got here as well, so I know how housing works, and I think we should have a proper functioning housing pack, and that would be really helpful. And also, I forgot to say about societies, I would try and kind of have a really effective management of the budget to help out societies, but not only just through budget, but also help them find events and help them find talks, because obviously students are students and they have lots of stuff to do, and this being a job, I would have my whole time devoted to helping out these societies and making events that would be great for everyone. And also, I've been here for 3 years and I really love it. I really love everyone that I've met, and I really would like an opportunity to continue on loving it and for everyone to, you know, have a great time here. So there you go.
And now we're going to have Tennessee Williams, and then we'll do speeches for both candidates. Questions, sorry.
And again.
Okay, you have 5 minutes starting now.
Hi, I'm Tennessee. I think I know pretty much all of you. I'm not going to go back through my manifesto just the same as before, because I think you've probably all read it, or I hope so. So I'm just going to elaborate on my points and get you to have a better sense of who I am as a person. My biggest proposal on my manifesto was integration of the years. Through talking to MA students with the Courtauldian and through TEDx, I realised that the MA-BA split went both ways. They wanted to talk to us just as much as we wanted to talk to them. And I feel we've really missed out on not having them as sort of academically and socially in our lives. I feel there's a number of ways we can benefit this by improving societies, which has come up a lot, but I think that's good. By making them more regular, by making them more diverse. I feel there's a big emphasis on drinking, which is great fun, but I feel like there could be other things to be done as well. More efficient budgeting. I feel like there's a lot of money that's actually not getting spent in societies. No, it's fine, but it's cheap. And also just being more vocal about our events. I feel lots of people don't actually know what's going on half the time. And I think we can bring in the outside world to our university. We're very small, and I think we could benefit from having interactions with kings. We can knock down that wall. And LSE, UCL, we've got a huge group of universities within UOL, and that would widen our social circles, bring us more facilities. And making whole school events to bridge this gap between MAs, BAs, PhDs, and even the years. And we can do this by using better social media, better emailing. Less emailing, I feel like I get clogged up and no one reads anything. Not from the SU, but from everyone. I know Research Forum has started to email less now. That was they sent an email out yesterday saying that. And I think more like notice boards, like things you can see around the place, because there's people who aren't on Facebook and they're getting lost. And a more integrated Freshers Week. This needs to start from the beginning with more mixed events, and I think even bringing the MAs into the parenting scheme. We don't do that, which I think is shocking. And then my other big proposal was to just recall the SU. I think they've done great work, and I think we need to continue going in that direction, like you've been saying. There's been talk about live tweeting SU meetings from Courtauld, I think. And I think this would be a really great idea because it makes it less boring, more inclusive. Everyone wants to and can get involved if they want to. Your voices can get heard. It means you can target your questions to relevant officers and things can get brought up in meetings, and you can see if they get brought up in meetings, and then you can shout at them if it doesn't. And also to see where your money's going, we can make it really transparent. Everyone knows exactly how much money is getting spent in places, because people are always more interested when they know what's happening to their money. Also, I want to talk about the mental health things, and I'm really glad that you've brought that up and that's been happening, and I just want to make sure that I would continue that, because that's something that's close to my heart, and I know a lot of people have been speaking about it. And on a more personal note, I'm just really organised. I would relish the admin side of this job, which is sad but true, and so I have life lessons, and I think I've worked in shops, I've worked in cafes, I can talk to people, I don't mind public speaking, so I think on a personal level I think I could do this job, but hopefully you'll have the confidence in me to vote, so thank you very much.
How would you tackle diversity issues at the Courtauld? Tennessee.
Okay. I thought this might get brought up. I just want to say that I came into this university through widening participation, which is something I'd really like to continue working with, and working with the SU to work with widening participation people here at the Courtauld. They get quite neglected, and there is a drive to get students to be involved with the gallery and with bringing sixth form students who are from disadvantaged state school backgrounds, and that's something that's really close to me, and I'd love to continue working with that. So I think coming from that background, I'd like to give my voice to those people who might struggle coming into quite an elite university from a state school background. Yeah, I think that's it.
So it's quite a difficult question because really it's not really an SU kind of goal. It's really to do with the admissions team, but obviously the president and vice president get a voice at these admissions and widening participation meetings, and I think it's a difficult one because it's not really something that you can necessarily help out with. But obviously having a confident voice in these meetings and kind of I don't really know. It's something to kind of think about, but I think it's not the main priority of the SU. Not saying that it's not a horrible, like that diversity isn't a problem that we shouldn't tackle. It's just I don't think it's the main priority of the union.
Have you got any ideas about how we would make the SU more accessible to people who actually aren't on the SU about problems? Not necessarily just about mental health, but as Ellie was saying, the apathy within BA is so palpable and you can just see it everywhere. How would you make it easier for students to come to you with a problem and with issues and not necessarily solve all of them, but to give like ideas and pathways of how to deal with issues like that?
I think the issue is that there's always been a complete, like anonymity and things like that when it comes to coming to the SU and asking them for help. And I mean, Greg has always been, I've seen him being really helpful, and I've tried my best to do the same. And I think it's that. I think people aren't necessarily aware of it. I think maybe, obviously, like when you arrive at the Courtauld, it's all a bit mad, you don't really know what's going on. I think that maybe after freshers there should be, the president comes back during enrollment week and just explain and kind of gives a talk in the lecture theatre about, what the SU is, and for MA students as well, and kind of, hey Harrison, and just, explaining that you can obviously come with any problem, because the thing is, we're great points of contact, because you can refer you to whatever, and people do come up to you and ask you things. All meetings, all the SU meetings are available to all students whenever they want to come. I think this should be made maybe more clear, but things are really, really open, just people need to know.
I mentioned it in my speech at the beginning, but about the, not necessarily tweeting, but live streaming these meetings that make it a lot easier to get involved without having to come to this meeting that's, I think, at this time every week, which is quite a sort of awkward midweek, late afternoon time. Not many people can actually make it if they're not on the SU. And I think that would encourage people to find the person they know, they'll be able to see exactly who runs what on the SU, exactly what their roles are and what they can do to affect change, and you can direct your questions towards the right person, and then watch it as they bring it up in meetings and if people respond to your questions.
How could you allow the student body to hold the SU to account?
Well, it kind of follows on from that point I was just making about you'll be able to watch what people are bringing up in their meetings, and so you can then target your questions back at those people to see if they are making change, and then when you don't see changes or you do see changes happening around the university, then you know who to thank or blame for those things.
Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure I understand it, sorry.
How would you facilitate the student body holding the SU officers to the SU in general and the SU officers to account?
So as you guys know, this is a new website that we developed over the year, and I think maybe SU members could have kind of track their progress on the website so people can see what these specific members are doing. We've done already subcommittees for each thing, so maybe we could have subcommittee updates. Maybe you share these on, maybe have like a blast on like at the end of the weekly blast, kind of say what the developments are, so that people know what's going on and people can realise that things aren't necessarily happening. So this would be sent by email as a form at the end of the weekly blast. Will be available on the website at all times.
Would you look at restructuring the
Student union.
or the structure of the SU?
So we've already started restructuring it, and all the members of the union will kind of hopefully be a point of contact for the ones that will be replacing them next year. So they'll be telling them, updating them on the progress. Because I've been on the SU for quite a while, I know that, for instance, this year has been a massive improvement on the way it used to work. It used to be kind of very unofficial and no one would really show up. So I think it's already improved massively, and it's only the beginning. And obviously the kind of what's been done and the fruits of what has been done will be more visible through in the next coming years, and next year hopefully really, really visible. And obviously I would, as I said, add an accommodation officer and a mental health officer.
As I haven't been on the SU before, it might be seen as a bit of a disadvantage, but having not been on it before, I don't know the problems that have gone on before. I feel like I would be able to see it with fresh eyes and restructure things in a way that haven't been seen before, because I won't feel the need to continue the ways that they've always been. But as it seems like they seem to be changing, and I think that's probably for the best, and I can hope to continue on with that work. I too would love to introduce disabilities and mental health officers onto the team, and if societies became more of the prominent position they are, then maybe have a representative from each of the societies on the SU as well.
Oh, aside from introducing a disability officer, how would you give more help and advice to students with disabilities?
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, it just needs to be made really clear. I think the SU website has made a lot of things really clear, and I think in the next lot of students coming in, that will be a much more useful tool, because we know most of it already. We've slowly worked it all out, but it's all there to find out now. And I think just raising awareness, like as lame as it sounds, like posters and stuff like that do help, just so you know what's going on and where you can find help and where you can seek advice.
Is that, oh, sorry, I didn't realize what I was saying. So how would I raise awareness for the students?
How would you
Sorry.
help and give advice to students with disabilities?
Well, I think you would refer them to someone a bit more. I mean, obviously, you have a chat and be nice, first of all, which is always good, and be really, I wouldn't judge anyone for anything or whatever. But I think that it's not, the union president's role to have to, I think you refer them to their personal tutor or to the counsellor and be there and help them every step of the way. But sorry, I'm getting really confused by the question. But I think I've basically said everything that I wanted to about mental health. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
How would you make the most of student staff meetings to best represent the interests of the student body?
So first of all, make sure that the staff actually shows up to these meetings. That would be nice. And catch them up on it, catch them out if they haven't. The staff is changing quite a lot. There's a new dean, because David Solkin is retiring, and there's a new head of art history, and everything's kind of changing quite a lot, which is a great moment to be able to make the most of that and make them realise that this is really important, that at the end of the day they're an institution that are educating students, and we're the ones that make this place run. So kind of make them aware of that.
I hate to bang on about this point, but if you could all see what was happening in these meetings every step of the way, then I think that would affect the staff as well, because the whole student body would be on their backs about it. It's not just the people who turn up to these meetings. Everyone would be able to know that it was X, Y, and Z who didn't turn up to that meeting, or it was X, Y, and Z who really did do something for them that meeting. And it means you can talk directly to staff. It means your questions would go directly to the people who can ask them in the right places and actually make something happen.
What would you do with special reference to the Courtauld? What would you do to try and keep student initiatives going or intervene when jobs aren't being fully done?
I feel this is directed at me. Because I am the one incessantly emailing you all, and I'm really sorry for that. But I think because we've been quite instrumental in the getting Courtauldian online, which I think has been really great, and I think it allows students to continually be involved with it rather than this huge rush in a couple of weeks to get an issue out. You can send in whatever, whenever, as long or as short as you like, and I encourage you all to do that, please. It would be great. I know we're all really busy with exams and stuff, so it's been a bit slow on the ground, but next year, being involved with this, I'd really like to keep that going. Getting people involved, I think right from the beginning, making totally aware that that is what happens. That's, that we're accepting articles of any length and calibre, really, and that it's such a good opportunity to get involved with writing, developing a voice that's not academic, and we can actually offer tickets to things. We've got free tickets and we've got invitations to go to things from the Courtauldian, and I really want everyone to utilise that. Just making you aware now, so yeah, please. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'd like you all to take advantage of it.
I think there's a problem at the Courtauld where people think at the beginning of the year that they'll do a job and do it really well, and then they get overwhelmed by circumstances and then don't necessarily do it. And I think I would implement something in the Constitution about heads of societies or heads of various projects that aren't running, that are very visibly and noticeably not running very well. I think that I would allow, I didn't have a discussion obviously with the person that's in charge, but I think it would be really good if we could have someone who's actually completely devoted to a project to actually head the project, rather than someone that's just going to leave it on the outskirts of them.
What is the one new event that you would introduce next year? Start with them. In times of dissertation right now, everyone's a bit stressed out. I would maybe make some kind of events that are non-alcoholic and stress-free, such as puppies. It'd be really nice. I think more kind of nicer stress-free events in the last term would be really good, and maybe more of a continuity of events, as in every other Tuesday or every first Tuesday of the month do a pub quiz, so that it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I'd like to stress the regularity thing as well. I think that's really important, that there would be things happening continually. I think what would be nice to introduce is a refreshers event. I know a lot of other universities do this, which is a sort of another freshers event that's for the older years, not just for BAs, and it just it kind of reinvigorates everyone to make friends again and to join up societies, so it's not just a BA1 thing that you can continually be involved. It's not just, you don't have to do it straight away and then get lost in the next 2 years, so I think that would be a nice thing to do.
This is a question for the both of you. We've been discussing this at the liaison meetings already, but how exactly are you going to make the Courtauld more attractive for people with physical disabilities, and second, make it more culturally diverse?
Because we have really done that question.
It's not really physical disabilities.
No. We can talk about.
Well, the thing is, it's something that we've talked about at the liaison meeting, and talking about with Anthony Tyrrell, who's head of facilities. I think it's obviously a really difficult building to navigate if you have a physical disability. and it's something that we have been trying to push, that they have at least, you know, a procedure rather than someone showing up and then them kind of freaking out and being like, oh, let's do this, and, you know, not having a procedure for this. So we're just basically pushing for them to have at least a set and clear procedure of what they want to do. But there's nothing that we can personally, you know, I'm not going to build anything myself.
Yeah, I mean, it is just, this building is a nightmare, really, when, you know, we've got one lift that goes to most of the floors, but not the little bits of floors in between. I think, like you said, just having a procedure in place. I think the gallery has quite a good procedure when it comes to wheelchair users, and I think we could probably learn from them when it comes to physical disabilities.
Have more than one round.
Yeah, things like that.
So you'll make the promise that you're actually going to push for that during your presidency.
Definitely.
How would you encourage interaction, not just across the year, but across particular programs, with particular reference to conservation students? And you could both just shift that way.
Just not migrating. Well, I think it's the same, like they're still MAs, aren't they? Or am I completely?
They're
Yeah.
postgraduates.
Postgrad. Well, you know, and they're all involved in coming to this university. They all come in at the same time, and I think that's the time when we need to start integrating and stop making it feel like there's segregation in the, like there's not just, they're not doing a completely other subject. Like we are all doing the same subject, and I think we can learn a lot from each other, and it will be, yeah, I think it needs to start right from the beginning. And then the segregation won't be ingrained as it has been now. Like we now feel it's impossible to start breaching those gaps, but I think we can do that if we start with the being no gaps, really.
Problem is that these people are in a whole kind of different building in the first place. So just by, you know, architecturally speaking, they're already at a disadvantage with kind of blending in with everyone else. Which is why I think it would be really important to have someone that, you know, knows exactly what's going on with Courtauld Connect, who are going to change everything to make Courtauld more of a brand and to kind of link everything up with gallery, because it's not just programs, it's even with gallery. I feel like we don't necessarily have much affiliation with it, although it's the massive selling point of coming to study at the Courtauld. And I think, you know, just trying to make sure that, obviously I don't think these procedures can take place in the so quickly. It's going to take a long time, but just to make sure that you push it towards a greater kind of integration of all these programs and people.
How would you make the Courtauld a greener university? Who was over last one?
How would I make? I don't know. I'd probably go to my ethics and environment officer. I'd make the ethics and environment officer kind of a bigger part of the union, and make sure that that is, you know, pushed towards being as effective as possible. Obviously, you know, things like posters and stuff. But I think it's difficult as well, because we did a lot of research about this a couple of years ago, or when I was in second year, so last year, where there was this big thing that came out about the Courtauld being really not great and horrible. But the thing is, it's also managed by Somerset House, so it's difficult to do things that have to do that are managed by other people than the actual institute. But I don't know. I'd probably try and get a different recycling bins, or like, you know, let people know there is a recycling bin just outside in the alleyway that goes towards Kings. They should probably make something, you know, make students aware of that, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was going to bring up I think it was People and Planet who said we were a failed university when it came to green issues. We had like 0% on everything, but I think that's because most of the stuff we hadn't disclosed to them.
Yeah, they didn't ask us anything.
Yeah, well, I think we should probably get in contact with them and tell them we are doing things, so when people look us up, they don't even recycle. Which I think we need to make our recycling better. I mean, I think we're trying, but it's still, you know, there's not enough recycling bins. I don't know if we're using energy-saving light bulbs. There's all these kind of things that we can do. I think we need an environmental policy on. I don't know if we have one, but the People and Planet thing said we didn't. So if we do, then we need to make that a lot clearer. And if we do have one, then don't have one, we need to write one up and give it out to people.
Okay, relating to that, how would you work hard to uncover the hidden costs of the course, i.e. printing, any money spent on trips, books, things like that?
So first of all, I think more awareness of what students are allowed to have, you know, like the £80 travel thing. I can't remember what it's called. That's my whole point, is that it's not really, you know, advertised very well. And also, we give out like a freshers pack for people that come in, probably put that in there, and you know, so that people know. And so it would be on the website, so that students looking into coming at Courtauld would know. I mean, the thing is, it's like other universities in London. You can like just have a really, you know, like a budget of what you should have, you know, food, travel, blah 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 blah, and just kind of put that on the website. I don't think there's, other than saying what it is, there's no way of reducing these costs. I don't think.
Do you mean personal, like for each student, their costs of coming to the Courtauld outside the fees? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think maybe, you know, like, there's probably a lot of books floating around after you've left that no one needs anymore. We could feed those back into the university, so there's just this continual cycle of books going around, so you don't need to buy Susie Nash's book 600 times, because we all have a copy and I know it. Yeah, things like that, and just, yeah, probably just having like packs, having things that are really clear, you know, and advice and money, advice available for people. I mean, we can't tell people how to live their lives, it is expensive, it is London, but just being there to help when people get into struggles about money.
Okay, last question from me. Bearing in mind the controversy surrounding the NUS conference and everything to do with the NUS, can you see us remaining a part of the NUS in the future? And if we were to remain a part, guys, if we were to remain a part, how would our relationship with the NUS work?
The controversy over the NUS as in how many people haven't done the survey?
No, the NUS, not the NSS.
Oh shit, sorry. Sorry.
What's the controversy? So the president and he's what? Apparently never elected.
Okay, let's not do this here, but
Perceived as.
let's just
Wait, do I
see.
know who is it?
No, not now.
Yeah, but I don't even know what it is. I haven't read the news in about 2 weeks. I'm literally.
Tennessee, do you have any?
I think we'd need to like review our position. I don't know all the facts, but I feel like it's something we need to see if we're actually getting much from being with the NUS, whether we're, like, what are they actually giving us? See what change they've actually made for us, and see if it's worth us staying with them, because if not, then it might be worth. I know there's a lot of London universities that are thinking of disaffiliating. LSE's campaigning at the moment, I think, to disaffiliate with NUS, so I think it might be worth it if it's, you know, if it's a thing that's happening, if it's going to change something if we disaffiliate.
I think it would also be quite helpful to get in touch with other universities' union presidents and see what their kind of opinions are on these kind of matters as well. Just to have a...
Cool. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you all very much for coming. Sorry for the kind of ad-lib approach to this. It's the first time we've ever done it before. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you all see it as a move in the general trend of accountability amongst the SU. And if you've got any questions for me, if you've got any questions for the candidates, go and see them after. Voting closes at 9:30 next Tuesday. Please vote by them. You need to email SU.elections, not at students.union, SU.elections@courtauld.ac.uk with your preferred candidate for each position. And then on Tuesday, winners will be notified during the day. We'll announce the winners at the hand-in drinks. So make sure you will come to that as well. Okay, thank you very much for coming.